Good morning, Don Steele. I'm going to continue reading from Date Young Women, updated for the 21st century. This chapter is called Boyfriends. Why do they all have boyfriends? That's the question I get all the time since 1987 when I published this book the first time. But she has a boyfriend. What do I do? Nothing. You don't do anything. They all have boyfriends. That's one rule you have to get through your head. They all have boyfriends. Why? Because it's mandatory, and any female between 14 and 20 that they have a boyfriend. 22 maybe. But after that, they realize maybe I can get along without a boyfriend. But up to then, they all have boyfriends. So just assume they all have boyfriends. When they're over 22, they have boyfriends, and maybe two of them, maybe three. Now that's really shocking to the guys who read this book. They think one woman, one guy. It doesn't work that way in the real world. Women have as many men as they can handle. Good-looking women have as many men as they want. Okay? There's a line outside their door, 20 miles long, of guys between 14 and 80 who want to go out with them. Fuck them, adore them, and sleep with them forever. The biggest question since I put out the book was, what if she has a boyfriend? Okay, they all have boyfriends. They don't care about the boyfriend. They're interested in you because you're different, you're exciting, you're new. They're not going to drop their boyfriend for you. Just accept that. It's not going to happen. They're going to date you and their boyfriend at the same time. They're going to fuck you and their boyfriend at the same time. Why? Because they can. That's why. After you're able to crack the 25-year-old barrier, you will find yourself involved with young women who has a boyfriend. Why? Less than half the target population is without boyfriends or fiancés. You won't get anywhere limiting yourself to girls who don't have a boyfriend. Why she has a boyfriend? Beyond the natural need for human companionship and sex, beyond her common need to escape neurotic parents, she has been brainwashed to need a boyfriend. She feels it is a real need, a real as powerful as any natural need. She learns this need. Her family, schools, religion, Girl Scouts, television, and other institutions teach her, brainwash her into wanting what our culture blindly considers a timeless value, coupling young and reproducing. Our customs of marriage and reproduction are based on and rooted in survival values. They live on today a societal pressure for the young to pair off for life and make babies. 100 years ago, 1920, it made sense for rural families and poor families. Survival of the tribe, family, depended on children having children quickly so there would be more workers for the fields, mines, and factories. Today, it makes absolutely no sense to couple young and reproduce. Educated white women do not marry at the historic rate they always have. If they do get married, it's much older, like 30. That's good news for us, many more to choose from. For women not in the upper middle class, the rest of this chapter is accurate. For women not in the upper middle class, the rest of this chapter is totally accurate. One more time, so make sure you get it. I'm not talking about the upper middle class and the lower upper class. Those girls, college educated, have realized they don't need a boyfriend, and they're free game for you. Queen for a Day is a powerful driver. Girls who get married are the envy of all friends and acquaintances, even those who realize 18 to 24 is ridiculously young to make until death commitments are envious. The bride is the center of attention for weeks preceding the ceremony. Then she's literally queen for a day. Each and every young female in attendance yearns for the focus to be on her. All other women are secretly jealous and resentful. Surprisingly, they feel this way even when the groom is a geek, an unrepentant womanizer, a druggie, or a shiftless, unemployed dolt. Every young woman wants to be queen for a day, and a queen must have a king, any king. As they move toward this unquestioned goal, miniature engagements and marriages give them a chance to learn, practice, and perfect the control and manipulation techniques they will use in their own real marriage. Many engagements are marked by frat pins in the academic world. In the real world, the promise ring is used, a miniature diamond set in an engagement ring mounting. How cute. The primary reason for a mini engagement is to make them feel like grown-ups and to cement their relationship. When you see his brand on her, one of two things will be true. She'll either be impossible or relatively easy. In my experience, a third of them take him for granted after the engagement, mini engagement, frat pin, or little diamond ring. Before hooking him, she was preoccupied with getting and keeping a boyfriend. But now that she has a ring, she feels free to discover the rest of the world, including older men, maybe slightly older men, and maybe just different young men. Many engagements, living together, and most mini engagements come complete with monogamous expectations. The requirement to have only the same friends, to visit and enjoy each other's parents, and so on. When they break up, it is a highly charged, severely painful event similar to divorce in every way, with crushed egos and dashed dreams. Even in puppy love, the love is real, at least to the puppies. Which ones have boyfriends? Remember again, we're talking about middle class, lower middle class, and upper lower class. Every 18 and 19-year-old has one. In the 20 to 21 age range, the percentage without rises to 10 or 15%. Over 21 and under 23-year-olds do without to the tune of 20%. There's a veritable abundance of young women without a man in their lives in the over 23 group, about 1 in 3. Trouble is, there aren't very many unmarried ones. If you're dedicated to not getting involved with someone who has a boyfriend, stick with girls over 23. By the time they reach the quarter-century mark, and a few years beyond, only 50% are seriously involved. This cheering fact has a dark side. There are many desperate to get married 23 to 30-year-olds out there, and by this age, most of them see you as a prospect if you're under 50. Bad news, the target population over 22 is halved by marriage. Good news, 1 in 4 of any age will be glad to have an affair with you if she can keep her boyfriend. There are two kinds of young women with boyfriends, those who tell you about them and those who don't. Announced boyfriends. This seems to cause a lot of confusion, so I'm going to be kind of slow and beat it to death. Announced boyfriends. When she mentions him early on, it means 1, she's not interested in you. 2, she's interested and wants you to know what the score is. 3, she wants to flirt with you and feel serenely indignant when she wins the rapo game. Rapo as in R-A-P-E-O is described fully in Court Her. 70% no, 20% maybe, 10% I'm fucking with you. If she doesn't say anything about him right away, but does later, it means, here we go again. 1, she was kind of interested and didn't want you to fade away, but after getting to know you, she wants to have an affair if she can keep her boyfriend. Second possibility, she was interested, but after getting to know you, this is how she says no. Oh, I have a boyfriend. Meaning fuck off. She was playing rapo with you all along. You made your move, and this is how she says, fuck off. And what she really says, what kind of a girl do you think I am? Or some version of that. Number 4, she likes you, doesn't want to date you, but didn't feel any of her personal life was appropriate until now. Under announced boyfriends, if she doesn't say anything about him right away, but does later, it means she was kind of interested. Now that she's gotten to know you, she wants to have an affair, and this is her way of saying, let's have an affair if I can keep my boyfriend. That's when she mentions him after a few conversations. The other possibility, she was interested, but after getting to know you, she doesn't want anything to do with you. That's how she says no. Oh, I have a boyfriend. She was playing rapo with you all along. That's about 10% of the time. So the first two are the most common. I would say it's about 60-40, that she doesn't mention them right on. She keeps talking with you at the restaurant or at the classroom or the club you belong to. And then suddenly she announces him, but she doesn't bluntly say it. She says, Jimmy and I went camping last weekend, something like that. That means, let's have an affair, but I want to keep my boyfriend. Or it means, I don't want anything to do with you. You have to use body language and your gut feel to tell which it is. I'm a great believer in body language and gut feel. Announced or unannounced, there are 3 kinds of boyfriends. Leftover boyfriends. She's been with him since high school. He's only a security blanket. He is her means of acceptance in the subculture and a sex partner, but most important, a place to avoid the risks associated with growing up and becoming a self-sufficient person. She takes him for granted, doesn't respect him, has boring sex with him, but doesn't have the courage to break up and look for something better. She announces him with, "My boyfriend and I went to Magic Mountain," or "Jimmy and I stayed at his grandma's cabin." The longer they've been together, the easier it is to have an affair with her.